Gang, we all know Spotify is the best and most popular music streaming app. They have millions of songs by millions of artists available at your fingertips. But did you know that aside from millions of songs, Spotify has thousands of podcasts? Yes, that's right. All of your favorite podcasts are on there, including original podcasts like Wind of Change, Stay Free, The Story of the Clash, and of course, How Did I Get Here is on there. You can find Spotify by going to Spotify.com or download it from your app store. And don't forget to follow How Did I Get Here? That's Spotify. Millions of songs, thousands of podcasts.
And you may ask yourself, well, how did I get here?
It's time for How Did I Get Here? And now here is your host, Johnny Baldi.
When we talk,
All right. Hello, I'm Johnny. I'm your host. Welcome to the show. I hope you are doing well. I hope you're sane. I hope you're keeping it together after so many months of complete insanity. You know? Of you know, whatever this is called, whatever this will be looked back on as history, the crazy time, the weird time, the pandemic time, but there's a lot of other stuff happening to you. There's just a lot of stuff going on. I hope you're doing okay with it all. You know? Gang, I want to tell you, I've been listening to this podcast this week that my friend Chris Gebhard turned me on to. And listen, man, I burned through it. It's a limited podcast. It's a Spotify original, but you can find it on other podcast mediums. And it's called Wind of Change. Now, this is a podcast about basically an investigative journalist goes in and tries to answer the question, did the CIA write Wind of Change as a propaganda song to try and tear down the wall and do all that stuff back in the late 80s and early 90s? Now, I know that sounds weird and kind of obtuse, but the rumor came from the CIA. Like, they're CIA guys that told this investigative journalist this story. And this investigative journalist goes through all kinds of different things and ends up in the last episode sitting down with Klaus Meine from the Scorpions, who allegedly wrote Wind of Change, or Winds of Change, or whatever the hell the song's called. Anyway, fascinating podcast. I don't think you even have to be a Scorpions fan to like it, but it is fascinating. And they talk to a lot of different people, man. CIA people, Snake Sabo from Skid Row. There's a whole episode about Doc McGee, the legendary rock manager who manages Kiss. He managed Bon Jovi, Skid Row, Motley Crue. All kinds of shit, man. Fascinating. It's called Wind of Change, Spotify original podcast. And listen, man, I'm not saying go out there and listen to a different podcast than this one. And I know I dropped 5 episodes this week, but you know, when you're out there listening to stuff, you might have your mind blown. I loved it. Anyway, gang, I hope you have a good weekend this weekend. I know that there was a lot of shows this week. I hope you guys are getting into the fact that I've been talking to a lot of people from different cities a lot more, and I've been bringing in a lot of artists that you might have never heard. And what I'm hoping is that the original focus of this show was to bring you stories from musicians you might know and you hear their life story, but then also you might connect with someone you've never heard of by hearing their life story and hearing what they're about and what they believe in and why they make music. And today is one of those shows. I speak to Dallas artist Sarah Johnson, a new artist, relatively new artist, who just dropped her debut EP called Volcano. She dropped it last Friday, September 18th. You can find her at sarahjohnsonofficial.com. You can also find Volcano wherever it is you stream and download your jams. Sarah and I have a fantastic conversation. Now, she lived here in Austin for a little while. She went to school here, but she's just kind of getting around to putting out music, and she's made music for years. She's played around for years. She did a lot of Christian music, and now this is her step into the secular music world. Volcano, her debut EP. We have a great conversation, man. She's a really fascinating person, a really interesting person, and it's funny because, like, when I listened to this album, I made this note here that said there's a lot of single life going on in this record. But I thought about it as like a very, liberated young woman out there living the dream. But it was a little bit different than that. Sarah has some parameters. But There's a lot of songs about people. There's a love of cowboys in one of her songs, Red Bandana. And anyway, we have a great conversation. She's a really, really cool person. And this record, Volcano, is a great debut album. It was produced by Bo Bedford up there in Dallas. And as I said, you can find her at sarahjohnsonofficial.com. And if you want to see her play, she does a show every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Central Time on Instagram called Tuesday Tunes. And you can find her Instagram by just going to sarahjohnsonofficial.com. You can find out more stuff about her. But if you want to find out her life story, sit down or walk around or drive around, whatever it is that you're doing, and enjoy my conversation with this very cool lady, Sarah Johnson. Let's get down.
Every day I've been waiting for this moment. All the dreams that I'm finally gonna show ya. Spent too long hiding in the shadows, getting by, just living on high hopes. I hear the whispers calling me back to where I started, just to kill
Sarah Johnson.
Yeah. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm hanging in there. How are you doing?
I'm good. So I just got back in town from Montana, and my grandmother lives there. And that's really the inspiration. At least this was 3 years ago, the inspiration for the song Red Bandana that's coming out on September 4th. And
The
so we
Rodeo
shot
Guy
the music
song.
video.
Yeah.
We shot a rodeo music video.
You did?
Oh, yeah. And I have a boyfriend this year. So it's funny. I was thinking about it. I was like, do I just, like, prior to meeting my boyfriend now, I was like, do I hire like Montana models? Like, how do I find someone to be the rodeo guy?
Yeah.
So then I suckered my boyfriend into being the rodeo guy, so I didn't have to go searching.
What level of rodeo is he? Is he like a rodeo? Is he been to a rodeo?
So he was playing the part for that. Yeah, he was playing the part. He was not, he literally doesn't even own cowboy boots. He's from Denver, so he's not much of a cowboy. So he just wore the costume and was a good sport about it.
Is he a music cat?
He is, yeah. So he plays more as just a hobby, but it's really fun to have that in common.
Yeah. What does he do as a person?
So he works for Southwest Airlines.
Okay. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So he handles all of the elevated customer complaints. So he's very patient.
Elevated customer complaints. Oh, I guess that's pretty
Yes.
good. That would work out. Oh, maybe that's what I should be looking for in a person. Somebody that works in a
I'm
lot of
telling you.
patience.
Yeah. Patience, listening, problem solving. It's kind of nice.
So you live in Dallas?
I'm here in Dallas. Yes.
How do you like that, Dallas?
You know what? It's something that I have grown to appreciate more and more. I think as a musical artist, I had my sights set on Nashville or different places. And it's interesting because having grown up here, went to the University of Texas, just have these Texas roots, I thought I had to leave. But when I tried Nashville, I kind of realized, there's something really special about Texas. There's really something about the Dallas music scene. There's a lot of resources here. And it really made me appreciate kind of my roots back home.
That's good. You came here to Austin I'm in Austin. You came here for
Yes. Yeah. So I went to the University of Texas for 4 years and
this
loved every minute of Austin.
This wasn't a good music scene for you at that time? Were you
know
playing?
what? I was not playing.
Okay.
The music pursuit is actually pretty new. I studied broadcast journalism at UT, and so I thought I was going to have to go to a small town, build my way up as a news reporter. And I've got an internship in Dallas and had this kind of strong unction that, I should just give Dallas a little chance. And at the time, Austin wasn't really the hype that it is now. So after 4 years, I was a little bit like, oh, let's change up the scenery, crazily enough. And so I went back to Dallas, worked for a production company, kind of veered away from the news reporting side of life. And then that's when I actually started the business that I own right now, that I started with my mom. So
What's
I've been
that?
pursuing that. What's that?
Yeah.
It's called King's Daughters, and we have inspirational art, books, and gifts for women and girls.
Wow. I bet that's something people need right now.
You know, we've really felt a strong purpose in what we do with these times. I mean, I think now more than ever, people really need hope. They need encouragement. They need, you know, something that's kind of telling them that it's all going to be okay. And we've felt a strong purpose in what we do, especially now.
How does that, you and your mom must get along then?
We do. I think she and I would both say we get along 90% of the time, which is pretty good.
Man, that's not bad. Really?
For coworkers. Yeah. For coworkers and mother-daughter.
And mother-daughter, yeah. How many, what
Yeah.
kind of siblings, what's your sibling count?
I have two sisters, so
Okay.
I'm in the middle of two girls. My older one was a teacher for a long time. She's in Charlotte, North Carolina with her two little girls. And then my younger sister lives here in Dallas, and she does digital media marketing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
But no music. You're the only one.
I'm the only one pursuing it. I would say everyone in my family loves music. And actually both of my sisters, my older sister, incredible voice, kind of like a Christina Aguilera, like Whitney Houston
I
voice.
like that
just
you have to use your hand when you're describing Christina Aguilera.
Well, yeah,
She does
yeah.
hand singing, yeah.
got to reach the notes and pull them down. And so she's like an incredible singer. And then my little sister actually has a great ear for harmony, but she's not ever been, you know, one to really seek out musical pursuits. But
So how did music come to you?
music came to me at an early age. I wrote my first song at 2 years old, says my mom, and she's a pretty credible source. She remembers it perfectly. And it was just a home where there was a lot of creativity. My dad loves music. He always had music on, Beach Boys, UB40, just always
That
had
is an
music
odd
on.
combo.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's very diverse.
Beach
in
Boys,
his-
UB40.
Yeah. And he is very diverse. I kind of had this broad spectrum of musical influences. And then my mom, she's just super creative, and she will make up a song still to this day about anything. So like, girls, clean your room, set the table. There's a little song that goes with it. So I think at an early age, I was like, oh, you know, you can put rhyming words together and make these melodies. And so it was kind of a natural inclination for me to start writing music.
This record's your first thing you've ever released?
It's my first official, yes. I have, so along with King's Daughters, which is the name of the company that we had, I had written faith-based music for 7 years. And so I did some very, very basic recordings of that, but nothing full studio and nothing that I was putting the full emphasis behind releasing as I am now. So this really is a first major release for me.
So is this like your first kind of foray into like secular
Yes,
music?
it is.
There's a lot of dude stuff in here going on.
There's a lot of dude stuff.
Yeah,
There's a lot
what
of
does that
heartache
boyfriend
went
think of that
behind
stuff?
those.
Was he like, oh God, here's this song about this dude?
So we've talked about this because
Wait
you
a
know, you
minute,
have
wait
your
a minute. So you
conversation.
made him play a dude that's a character in one of your songs that's based on a dude you met before?
Yeah.
You've got balls, man. And he agreed to it? What a nice guy.
I know, I'm telling you, he's the best.
You got to keep this guy.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, he has a lot of, like we said, patience. He was great. And really, the Red Bandana song was, had some storytelling elements to it. So there was, you know, it
Right.
wasn't too much like a, you know, hard fast, like this, you know, rodeo guy. But so, yeah, he, you know, he was a little curious about some of the stories behind the songs, and
Really?
rightfully so. I mean,
Yeah.
you kind of, you know, it's
I
kind of like
know.
my diaries out there. You know,
Right.
you really kind of get this
Yeah.
perspective and like how I was really feeling, or these like real life scenarios that I put into songs. So yeah, we kind of talked a little bit about it, but I think with him also appreciating music so much, it helped just kind of, you know, he really gets it and understands that's good material.
That's a nice dude, man. That's an evolved cat.
I am a lucky
I
girl.
think I would be in both sides. I'm as an artist, I'm a songwriter, a musician, and stuff. I have like a don't ask, don't tell. Like, don't ask. Don't ask what the song's about, lady, because
Yeah.
you're not going to want to hear it.
Well, it's interesting because I mean, I totally get that, but at the same time, like, I feel like I've been open. Like, I'll never say names. Like, that's no. Like, we
No.
don't get into
on.
like the names.
Yeah, who does that?
But that's a really good question. Taylor Swift, I don't know.
Does she?
So,
She names
no,
names?
well, there was a Dear John song. That's the one I'm referring to. But other than that, you don't get names.
Right.
But I would say I really like to bring just some openness into this whole thing and just some transparency, because I think I kind of had to make like a deal with myself launching into this and pursuing music, that I was going to come and just be authentically me and not get kind of caught up in the game or, get swept up in some of the, attention seeking, like, there was just some struggles for me actually launching into this. And so I think when I decided to do it, I was like, I'm bringing all of myself. I'm bringing my authentic self. I'm bringing my past. I'm bringing these songs, like, kind of, this is me. And I've always been pretty open about, whatever I'm going through. So it kind of applies to music too.
Awesome. All right, let's go back. You did a really good job with the record. You're a good songwriter, man. You really
Thank
are.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Johnny.
Yeah. You there's definitely like there's a vibe of like this is what it's like to be a single woman at this time vibe to it. Except for the rodeo thing. I don't think a lot of people get like a rodeo guy thrown in there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I'm like, don't go. Like, I love Montana. It's this little haven for me. And so I'm like, almost like, don't go to Montana. Save it for, don't let all the tourists go. But other than that, yeah, I mean, that's definitely like, you're kind of listening to the highs and lows of single life. And I think one thing that's also, I think, unique about even just me being a little bit older and having a little bit more experience, writing experience, getting some of the bad songs out of the way, is that, I'm really trying to make this expression of whether it's, a sad, bad day. I mean, I am working on making those lyrics excellent and, really refined and bringing a lot of depth and maturity to it. And so it is interesting kind of being an older single girl writing these songs and really trying to dive deep and write mature lyrics, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I also have to say there's not a lot of people, period, let alone females, that go around just like first thing in their bio is their age. That's not a very common thing. You're very okay with that, which I guess is cool.
I'm really okay with that. And part of that, you kind of think, you have to think like, what makes me different? What am I bringing to the table? What kind of sets me apart from the probably millions of people that are writing music and trying to get their name out there.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that I kind of recognized from the start is that, like I'm 32. I'm not like just graduating college or, pursuing this dream with nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in an interesting spot in life where a lot of people would really be looking to plant or dig deep, get roots, buy the house. And I'm like, all right, peace out. Like, I'm going on tour, or, I'm kind of setting aside other things for this love and passion for music. So to me, that's actually, I think, something that sets me apart, which is important to recognize in this game of music, really. And then also, I hope it's inspirational for other people. And I really don't mean to sound cheesy or contrite about that. I really, truly think that no matter where you are, how old you are, the obstacles, do what you were created to do.
Yeah. So you made up songs when you were 2. Does your mom remember what the song was about?
Oh, yeah, I could sing it for you.
Okay.
It's just, God watching over me, God watching over me. And then it just repeated. So I grew up in a very just faith-based home. And so I think that was very natural lyrics for me to just come out with at a young age.
Was there some music that wasn't allowed there?
Oh, for sure. I remember.
So I guess UB40 has a positive message.
Yes.
They seem like they were made by the devil to me, to be honest
Really?
with you. I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
Yeah, so we had, yeah, it was very, I mean, I had to run every CD I bought by my parents, and I remember.
Tell me some that got thrown out.
Ooh. I mean, I was very late in the game on like the Backstreet Boys, Britney Spears, like that was all like DC Talk and Newsboys, some of those like pop Christian bands
I've heard
of the
about
90s.
DC Talk. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I was listening to like the Christian pop boy bands whilst others were enjoying other things.
Yeah. That was very
But I
provocative.
remember there was this
Pause
one
there.
Christmas. Yeah. Well, I was remembering like this one Christmas, it was a really big deal because the Chumbawamba CD got released, and it was like, I get knocked down,
Yeah.
but I get up again. So for Christmas, all we wanted was that CD. All we wanted. And at 6 a.m, we get woken up to like, I get knocked out. And we just danced to that song all day. And it was like the secular music we could listen to.
That song's just like, that song is a recipe for vomiting.
Yeah.
Anytime I've mixed even a tenth of that much stuff in a,
Oh, and we
in
didn't
the-
even know we were singing.
I take
What's
a vodka
vodka?
drink, I take
Yeah.
a whiskey drink. Yeah. That literally, like,
Yeah.
I remember the first time I heard that, like, it got to the chorus and I was like, I would have already thrown up. Like, I wouldn't have
Yeah.
gotten to that chorus.
You would not have gotten back up again.
So, all right. So here's my background of faith, religion, spirituality, whatever. Right. So I'm Cuban. My parents were born in Cuba. I was born in America. But there's a very intense sort of like Catholicism that happens in that way, where like there's saints and you pray and your grandma puts holy water on your head before you leave, and you got to be wearing one of these guys or something very terrible is going to happen to you. In your faith thing, was it like as iconic, oriented, and as dramatic as like as Catholicism is? Because that's the only one I'm
Yeah.
really familiar with.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And, you know, it was, I think what I really appreciate about my experience with that is that it was very genuine, very real, very much like letting us take ownership of the elements that we wanted to partake in. So I love to lead worship, and, you know, that kind of was my expression of faith. And so to me, I mean, you know, there were definitely things where it was like, let's do this every day, or, you know, one of those like things that similar to Catholicism might be like this is what we do.
Yeah, but there's also like a tremendous amount of like guilt and like, you know, that kind of stuff that comes along with the old religions. Like they've kind of trimmed that shit down to where like people can like go through life and not feel bad about everything they do. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And so honestly, like I would say I'm really blessed that it just felt, you know, healthy, and faith is still a big part of my life today
It
by
is.
choice. And yeah, it definitely is. And so it's still something that is an active practice in my life and something that I still pursue. So, I mean, although we're all, you know, nothing is ever necessarily perfect about how all of that gets expressed. Like I would say, you know, I can say for my other sisters, like it's something that's still an active part of our lives too. And so it did feel very healthy. But you know, there is an element too where I think how I relate to that is that, you know, I did have to kind of make this jump into like secular music, and you're kind of like, you know, was I given this gift of music just to sing worship music, you know, just to sing like Christian songs because I am a Christian and then I have this gift. So A plus B equals C.
Right.
And so for me, you know, writing these like secular songs and actually pursuing this path rather than maybe like a Christian singer path, whatever, is something that I was kind of had to make a little bit of like peace between me and God of like, no, like this is just as valuable, just as valid, just as, you know, God glorifying as, you know, the Christian stuff. It's just, I think, how you live your life and what you're representing.
Right. Are you familiar with the band U2?
Oh my gosh. They're
to
one of
me-
my top.
Yeah. In the world of like Christian music, do people like view them as Christian? Because to me, they're like a Christian band. They're just like,
I know. Oh
they
my
just
gosh,
kind of
if you
went
listen to
into
their
like
lyrics.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard for me to say, like, speak for a lot of other people, but I know that the Christian friends that I have really admire how they've mixed faith into their lyrics. And
Right.
I mean, that was definitely fair game in the Johnson
Well,
Johnson
they
household.
don't shy away from it, as like a
Yeah.
rock band would. They embrace what they came from. They don't look down on it like a lot of people. Like, I am not connected to the Catholic Church in any way, and not because they did anything to me. I just experienced a lot of jive with people, and it turned me off to that thing. So and the one thing that happens is I was like a like a there's no God, dude. I'm whatever. But when I was younger, but as I get older, the level of respect that I have, especially like doing this podcast, has really introduced me to a lot of people that I didn't realize that was such a big part of their lives.
Yeah.
There's actually a person I'll email Amber about. My friend Natalie Price and I have this conversation a lot. Do you know who she is?
I don't.
She's a singer-songwriter here, but she started a show like this that she does like on Instagram. You should go on it with her. I bet you guys would have an amazing conversation.
Yeah, I'd love that. And Johnny, one thing, I'm thinking about just like how it's been interesting, just like in writing these lyrics. I mean, that was a conversation that I had with Bo. I mean, there's one song called like Looking for Someone, and it's like, I've been looking for someone. And, there's little parts of like writing the lyrics where I was like, does this sound like a one night stand? And like, that's not something that I would do or agree with. And so, we have these conversations about how to write these like, secular songs, but also not misrepresent what I think. And so there's like one line where it's like, boy, you make me want to break my rules. And we like talked about it. And it was like, you make it hard for me to keep my rules because I'm still keeping them. So there were little nuances of
I missed that.
Mixing your morals with these songs, and like in the song Fire, like sometimes like there's a part of me, and I don't know whether this is my personality or, it might be rooted in faith, but like, I just want some redemption in it. So like the last song of that, or the last line of that song is like, I'm gonna find fire, where the whole song is kind of this hopeless, like we could have been fire. That last song is like, that last line is like, but I'm gonna find fire. And to me, that's kind of this hope for having like redemptive qualities in my music, which might be, just founded in my faith as well.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Don't be mad at me, but I thought of it as a, out picking up dudes.
Yeah. Which, I mean, it came from like meeting a guy at, out at a bar, and we did have like this great night. I didn't know if I would ever see him again. And, there's also some.
It's not like the soundtrack to Sex and the City or something.
Yeah. But I mean, that's also something where, gosh, like people are going to hear this and interpret it the other ways. But I think as long as I know that I was writing it and keeping my morals in mind, I can't control how people
There's nothing
it,
you can do. The Beatles, when they wrote, when Paul McCartney wrote Helter Skelter, he didn't think that Charles Manson was going to write it in blood on a wall. You know what I mean? You don't know. You can only make... God, that was a really dark analogy. I just watched your face like fall from like, oh my God, this is like... Anyway.
Oh, you know what that was? That was, we lost connection a little bit, so I was a little worried.
Oh, okay.
We broke up just a little bit.
No,
but yeah, what you're saying is right. And sorry, I really wasn't alarmed. We just lost connection, so I probably look concerned.
It's okay. I bum people out sometimes.
No. But yeah, I mean, but that's a real thing. I mean, whether you're Christian, non-Christian, everyone goes to a bar and everywhere out or whatever church group or a, rave, and, everyone's looking for someone.
A rave?
Well, I was trying to think of two.
I know.
Opposite
That's trying to think like, wow, when was the last time there was actually a rave going on? Like what were you, like 9 when there was raves? Yeah, you were like a little kid. They were raving in college. I went to
like some like 6th Street. I mean, that was like Dirty Six. We didn't have any other option but like Dirty Six.
When did you graduate college? What year?
2010.
Okay.
There was like this, we called it the Boom Boom Room. Gosh, now I'm not even going to remember the name of the bar. But yeah, I mean, I don't know about like, maybe my version of rave is different from others, but there were some Dirty Six moments.
Yeah. I don't see you as like taking ecstasy and like having a pacifier and like dancing weird ways with all the things that I've seen out there.
Disclaimer. Let's ask Asterisk. No
Okay.
drugs.
You were in a sober rave.
Tipsy rave.
Tipsy rave. So you spent your 20s gigging, so you go back to Dallas. You are working for a production company. When did you start like playing out?
So I started playing out, it probably was about 4 years ago. Just started doing, I have really incredible supportive friends, and they had heard some of my music, just probably, playing at their house or late night, whatever it is. They're like, Sarah, you should do a concert. And then they threw a house concert for me. Then I started getting gigs at like House of Blues and opening for other people, and it just kind of domino affected from there. So
where in the
but it
House
was
of
only
Blues in
about 4
Dallas,
years
like in
ago.
the restaurant or something, in the Foundation Room?
It was in the the foundation
The Cambridge room.
upstairs.
Right. I
Sorry,
played that
I'm sorry.
room too.
It was what's the VIP room in the top? Is
That's
that
the Foundation Room. Yeah.
Okay, Foundation Room. I'm sorry. It was the Foundation Room. But I have played in the Cambridge Room. I opened for a friend in the Cambridge Room. So that was really fun.
I'm of the belief that when my band played Cambridge Room last time, our drummer, his aloofness to their, hey, get on stage, because people, they don't screw around at the House of Blues. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep, there.
yeah, you can't be going like for a third encore in the Cambridge Room. They're like, hey, dude, you end at 11, okay?
So was that the first and last time you guys played?
I don't know if it's because of that, but I do remember thinking to myself, well, he's being very relaxed about this guy coming in for the third time and going like, hey, that happens, man.
Yeah.
I've been doing this a lot. I'm 51, and I've been like playing gigs at places where they give you money for it since I was like 16. So I'm pretty good about going on stage on time. Anyway, so you played like the House of Blues. You did this house concert, and what kind of stuff were you playing? Was it these songs? Were these songs written, or were you writing?
I played the
faith-based
songs
music?
that weren't at first. It was the secular music, but they were the songs that weren't good enough to make it to the EP because that was 4 years ago, and I've grown a lot as a songwriter. So it was a little bit more of a blend in the beginning, and probably some there. I have a couple what they would call like crossover songs, but I wrote about God, but other people could interpret different ways. So at the beginning, it was a blend, and songs that I don't even sing live anymore because I just feel like I've written better. And so that was just the beginning of the jump into the secular songs. But I was really kind of experimenting and seeing the reception of this new, Americana secular music, and it was just favorable. And then kind of kept getting better and better until I decided to just go for it.
Were you playing like with a band, or were you playing solo, or what's the?
So I've only played solo, just me and the guitar. And right now I'm in the process of finding a band. And it's been cool because, people have reached out, and I think DFW musicians are also really supportive of each other. We do have a smaller scene than Austin as far as music. So you kind of get, and even the studio where I recorded Modern Electric, it's kind of like a family. So if you've recorded there, you meet these incredible guys. And then I kind of am in the process of finding a band, but it's been cool.
So who played on the record? They got you guys to play on it?
So the band that I recorded at Modern Electric, Bo Bedford, he played with like Texas Gentlemen, incredible dude. He was my main producer. And then I had Mackenzie Diaz. I'm going to have to look up these first and last names for you. He played drums, but he's the drummer of Midlake. Incredibly talented guy. Charlie Wiles played lead guitar. Parker Twomey played on the keys. Both of them are artists in their own right. And then bass was.
Doesn't matter.
But yeah, just like an incredible team that.
Look, yeah. So you got to find new guys. How do you put a band together in a pandemic? Like, Craigslist?
I am learning as we go. So a lot of it's been through Instagram. That's what's been really cool is that
I
I
guess
feel
because you
like,
can see people play.
yeah. So I've been doing Tuesday Tunes. I've been like this, the pandemic has really stretched, I think, my creative muscles as far as how to promote music. And when Red Bandana played on the radio for the first time, I just had everyone come and like meet in a parking lot and like turn up their car radios. And, we were able to have our distance and just have this little celebration. But, I'm promoting it on Instagram, and Amber put it out there. And then a guy saw it on Instagram and came, and he's an incredible pianist here in town. And so we're going to jam. And he was like, yeah, if you ever need me to play. I'm like, yes, I do. Like, you're hired. So it's just been really through Instagram. It's kind of been the most important tool for musicians during this pandemic.
Huh. I like Amber, man. I've known her for a while now. I want to say
she's
early
incredible.
on, like I've been doing this show like 9 years, but I've been talking to her for, I feel like almost the whole time.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's been awesome.
Yeah, she's a cool person. So you don't know what it's like to put out a record when it's not a pandemic. This is just normal for you. This isn't like some horrible thing where you're just like, well, I've just got to put it out.
Yeah. I would say like this music was ready in February. So I was getting ready to tour. I mean, speaking of the boyfriend, I was like, are you sure you want to date me? Like, I'm about to be on tour. I'm about to never be here. And, I just was expecting to be.
Sorry.
No, not yet.
Okay.
So that I was like getting ready to do all of that. And then that was like March. Then like really March 15th is when everything kind of hit the fan. And it was like, whoa. Let's wait till this is over. Like this will be a couple weeks, couple months. Like at the time we didn't know. And, let's wait till this whole thing ends. Then I'll be out on the road and, kind of pursue the booking agent, start playing live again. And I mean, Johnny, we're in August and we're still kind of in the throes of it. So it was about June when I just was like, I'm not waiting anymore. And I'm sitting on this music. People are excited to have something to look forward to. Maybe people will even listen through whole songs now.
Yeah.
Well, like sitting at home.
Right. There's have been some things like I read some stuff about at the beginning of this, like maybe at the end of March, beginning of April, how podcasts had dropped, but mine didn't. And I guess it's just because I have a foothold I've been here for a long time. And there's everybody started something during this pandemic. You know what I mean? What are you doing? You're doing Tuesdays? Tuesday
So
tunes?
I do Tuesday tunes, and I either do it by myself or I invite a local. I kind of try to focus on DFW artists just because part of me staying in Dallas, recording in Dallas, launching from Dallas, not going to Nashville is kind of about shining a light on the incredible talent that we have in Dallas. So I've been inviting DFW artists to come on with me. So tonight I have Elena Kay who's coming on. So I've just invited the people that I've met kind of pre-COVID, obviously, just at music events, live events, networking, all of that. And they've come on and we do a little song swap.
Were you gonna do South by Southwest this year?
Yeah, I was. Well, and I was going to go, and I was talking
Guerrilla
to Bo
style?
about booking shows. Yeah. So it was kind of like, just in the talks, and then it just very abruptly, that was one of the first things that got canceled when you're like, oh, this is real.
Yeah, I went out and met my friends at a bar for like a birthday thing the night of South by, and like a few of the people like worked at South by and stuff. It was just like this weird kind of like, are you okay, man? And then I remember that was like everyone's like, oh man, all my friends at South by, man, they've been working so like all this shit, and then everyone went down.
Yeah. It's crazy.
So when you were playing before, you were doing that stuff, playing by yourself at all these places, were you traveling at all?
Yeah, and that was one of the cool things about being able to be an entrepreneur with the business, King's Daughters, and then also do music at the same time. So we traveled, and I say past tense, just pre-corona, hopefully we will again, but we traveled the whole United States doing speaking engagements, art events, fundraisers.
Wait for with
the business.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, with King's Daughters.
Okay.
So for the past 10 years, historically, like I've already kind of lived the road life because most of what we did, our main distribution model, if you will, was doing like speaking engagements and events with women and girls. So I would play like, the women's retreat in the morning, and then at night I would do something with my secular music. So I was planning on actually having a really cool like marriage between the two. And I was going to try to do 20 cities in 2020, had it all planned out. So maybe we'll do 21 cities in 21, but it was going to, and it was, and I hope it will continue to be a neat relationship between doing the business and music at the same time.
Yeah. You seem like you might be somebody that's a candidate for like, do you know what NACA is?
I don't, but I'd love to know.
National Association of Campus Activities or something like that. But you get hooked into that thing and you get like these gigs
cool.
In like lunchrooms at colleges. My music, I have a lot of very ridiculous subject matter and bad words in a lot of my songs that never really set me into that world of that. I was more just like a rock and roll guy.
That sounds awesome. I'll look into that.
Yeah, NACA. It's a popular. Comedians do it, and like public speakers, and like they have these conferences, and you go into these rooms and you play for like these different talent buyers from different colleges. And,
cool.
And that's like one of those things where you could do like the thing during the day for your business. You could go play the lunchroom of like Wichita State University and then play a gig that night as yourself.
Oh, I love that. Johnny, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'll look into that.
Yeah, you're welcome. I don't think it's happening because nothing's happening anymore. But maybe when it does.
Thank you. Yeah. Put it in the arsenal.
But there's always. I feel like there's always room for somebody who has a positive message and things like that in that world.
Cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So you've been doing the touring and you've been doing those speaking engagements and stuff, and those are at like some kind of thing, like at a hotel or a convention center or something?
Yeah, I mean, actually, our venues have been all over the place. So we've done hotels, we've done churches, we've done private home events, we've done actually one of the coolest things and places that I love to sing are jails. And we've done, events with incarcerated women and men. And so just the type of audience has just been all over the place, but it's been cool because historically, growing up, I was really shy and didn't really like to sing in public. And now it's like, I've given someone a one-on-one concert in the alley, just that we met. And that partly that's because I'm with my mom and my mom's like, oh, she'll sing right now. Okay, great. So some of it's been, kind of spur of the moment, not my idea, but all that goes to say is like, the amount of places and venues and different audiences or audience has been very different every time.
Is your dad spinning your record alongside UB40 and who was the other band?
Well, Beach Boys. A lot of Elvis. A lot of the classics, like a lot of oldies.
But he's got you in the mix?
Yes, he's incredibly supportive. He's heard these songs tons, and anytime I play live in Dallas, it could be just for one song, and he's there. He's been incredible.
Are you nervous at all about this? Because you're like embarking on this thing, and all I can think is like I've been through look at me. I look like I've gotten beat up by like a pack of wild,
I think you're looking good for 51 and having gone through all the music. And look what you're doing now. You're kind of using all this experience to shine a light on others. I think it's awesome. But nervous is an interesting word. I think I'm really realistic about it. I'm kind of going into this with like hopefully like realistic expectations, meaning no expectations. Like whatever happens, and I can go to bed at night knowing that I made music that I'm really proud of and that I think sounds really great.
Then you're in it for the right reasons.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you know, it really was, I mean, there's no bone in my body that really wants fame or like needs attention. Like I actually really love my life. And so it's interesting. I kind of had this like inward struggle with myself of pursuing this because it takes so much kind of self-promotion. And I mean, prior to pursuing music, like you couldn't really even find my like own face on my Instagram profile. Like I would just shoot the mountains or, you know, wherever I was. And now I'm like posting selfies. It's like, who is this? You know, that just was never me. But so it is interesting. I think I'm coming into this just with not to sound cheesy, but just like a gratitude of like, I made really great music. I would love for people to listen to it. I'm proud of it. I'm doing something that I've always wanted to do, and kind of whatever happens. And it might be that someone picks up the song and I just maybe am like more of a behind the scenes songwriter. It might be that someone wants me to play in front of millions. Like I'm kind of just down for the ride. And there's a part of me that like, yeah, I have days where I get overwhelmed. Like there are days like when I literally just like, to be honest, like I'll just kind of have a little tear and I'm like, there's just a lot going on. And like, I'm balancing, you know, a ton of emails about music. And then I'm trying to do something for work. And then, you know, I miss my friends because now I'm kind of pulled away from more of my social life. And so, I mean, yeah, I have moments of being overwhelmed, but I'm just kind of, it's like every day, keep moving forward, keep saying yes, keep pushing through doors, and just kind of be excited and expectant, but realistic about whatever's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, that's really the only way to approach it without just getting totally annihilated.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I mean, speaking about like the 32-year-old thing, I mean, I think that's one thing that I'm bringing into this experience as well. I know who I am. I'm confident in who I am. I'm not coming into this like hungry for like, oh, let's let everyone kind of define how I feel about myself based on how many people listen to my songs or how many likes I get on that Instagram post.
Right.
Do I think about it? Of course. Like, let's be real. Like, of course I look at like those little hearts and whatever, but at the same time, like I have this, like, that doesn't define who I am. Like I am
Right.
loved. I am confident. Like I'm not seeking some kind of worth or identity from this whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Maybe that's the plus of coming to it later in life, that by the time I was 32, I had left like my major label and I was on the couch of a therapist lady and getting divorced from my wife. And a lot of it was because so much of and who I was wrapped up in magazine articles and, you know what I mean, things of this nature that don't really define who you are and don't really you don't seem like you're doing it to fill a hole. Like, I think there's some of us that have a hole and they're trying to fill it with something. And we think like, well, if nobody loves me, then if everybody loves me, then if I can't have like an actual human connection with a parent or something, then maybe if everybody loves me, but I don't have to talk to them, it'll fill the hole. But you're lucky coming into it at that level then, and with a clear head on your shoulders and sort of a clear idea of what not to expect.
Yeah. I mean, I think that might also just be like talking about that hole. And, you know, to be really honest, like for me, that hole is filled with God. So anything else is just a plus.
See, that's the part where I get jealous of my friends with faith. So I'm like, oh, there's a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, it's something I daily have to, you know, pursue. You know, it's a relationship. You know, I'm always trying to grow it too.
Yeah.
It's a journey.
It is a journey. I'm going to try and find a way to introduce at least, maybe I'll introduce you and Natalie Price. I don't know. I also don't. Yeah, you guys should meet. I think you guys would really get along. And I'd be interested to hear what you said to each other. Cool. Your EP is fantastic. It's called Volcano. And you filmed a video for Red Bandana in Montana.
Yes.
That really rhymes.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that was the impetus of the song, was that little rhyme.
Huh. Well, it's weird what it takes to write a song, isn't it?
It is, but that's the joy of it. You're all like, you live your life as a songwriter looking for those little sparks. And like when you just get that I mean, at least, and I didn't mean to deviate from your question, but at least like with that, like speaking of like Montana Bandana, came home from Montana. I had bumbled in Montana because I was alone with my grandmother and my mom. So I was like, well, I want to go out at night. Got on Bumble, met, these great mountain guys that, we just got for drinks. It was really fun. But one I, had this really fun connection with, and we're still friends today, actually. And I came home and I was like, oh, what a cool idea. Like city girl goes to the mountains, goes to Montana. And then I was like, well, what rhymes with Montana if I want that in there? And then I go through the alphabet. So I'm like, Anna, bandana. Oh, there's the song. And then it was just like this whole story kind of unfolded. Bumble. Telling you, they might get a shout out. They're the reason why that song exists.
Yeah. I didn't enjoy my experience with those things.
It's
not my
I can be
jam.
grateful for the red bandana. Yeah, I think it's fun. I always like meeting new people, and I've been to like many Bumble weddings, and sometimes just, especially like in the pandemic times, like that's kind of been a saving grace for some single people. It's like, at least I feel like I'm meeting someone.
That's true. Yeah. I just creepily write people on Facebook. No, I'm just joking. I don't do that. That was a terrible thing to say I do. So this record, this podcast is going to drop afterwards. I've got a huge backlog of shows, but by the time this drops, people can go get Volcano. They can go find you at sarahjohnsonofficial.com. And the Tuesday Tunes, that happens on Instagram?
It does at 8 p.m.
8 p.m.
Central Time. And Johnny, I have to say, I mean, with you having all the music experience that you have, and not only as a musician yourself, but listening to a ton of tunes, the fact that you say it's excellent means a lot to me. So I just want to say a huge thanks.
Yeah, man, I wouldn't have taken you if I hadn't. I do say no to people when I think they're jive, but I thought you were interesting. I listened to the record and I was like, it's funny because I had a different perception. I didn't get the faith stuff at all. I was like, oh, this is like a young woman on the go saying her life and what, how she's getting through the days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought it was an interesting perception, and it is,
Yeah. And I mean, there's a part of it that is, I mean, faith or no faith, like I still feel heartbreak, and I still, wonder who I'm going to end up with. And I'm still, meeting guys and having them ghost me. It's like, I would say it's just kind of, maybe I'm like bringing a different perspective, but experiences are all very similar, whatever your faith background, like we're still kind of in the ringer of single life. So that's what's on there.
Well, I feel like that added an extra level of depth to who you are as a person, And even though I'm not a person of faith, I do have a tremendous amount of respect for people that have it and stand by it.
Thank you,
What
Johnny.
I was going to tell you is my whole spirituality, I realized, is just based on Star Wars and the Jedi philosophies.
Are we going to do that?
No, that's a Star Trek, but that's all right.
Oh, dang it!
You're cool. You're
Don't
cool.
put that in.
Luckily, it's just audio. No one will see. Oh, they'll hear what
perfect.
I said. But anyway, this EP is great. I'm excited to see what else you do as an artist, and I hope that you get out and play some more. And,
I appreciate that.
And I know that time on stage, that I don't know if you subscribe to the Malcolm Gladwell 10,000 hours theory, that you need to spend that time doing that. I don't think that necessarily applies to everyone. It's funny, I had someone on the show last week that had just started in music, and they were like, oh, and I haven't paid my... And I'm like, some people just come out ready to go.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want me to say? Like, if you literally have this much talent without the level of experience that usually meets that, it's like, well, shit, now you don't have to spend all that time, like, breaking your back for nothing,
Yeah. Well, I think what's kind of nice is that I did so much of that behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I mean, I have I have a whole binder of terrible songs that I don't want anyone to ever hear, but I had to write those to get to what's on the EP today.
Sure.
And so, it's kind of nice that maybe a little bit of just with having, not a lifetime of pursuing music, I'm not going to listen to some recording I made when I was 15 and be like, oh my gosh, take it down. So it's nice that I think the 10,000 hours happened, but it was a little bit more private, and
Right.
so that's kind of what's appearing today. Hence the Volcano,
Maybe you're
EP
writing-
and song.
Yeah, and writing those songs since you were 2, that counts towards the 10,000 hours, doesn't it?
Yeah, we'll put
Yeah.
those in there for sure.
Yeah. Well, Sarah, it was great talking to you. I'm glad that you stayed in Dallas, too. I think that's cool. Tell your boyfriend he's real cool. I don't know him, but he's definitely
I
seems like a guy
will.
that you guys are probably lucky to have each other. Hopefully you're not a pain-in-the-ass artist like the rest of us are. You seem like you're more grounded than the average narcissistic, self-centered freak that I surround myself with.
That's the hope, is to never turn into him, and I've given him a lot of permission to call me out. And
That's good.
I'm like, on dates, I'm like, I don't want to talk all about music. Like, how's your day? Tell me what's going on. So everyone has their own dream that they're pursuing, and it's important to acknowledge that no matter who you're talking to.
Yeah. See, I think I try that, and I'm like, no, I don't want to talk about myself all night. What's going on with you? And then they start something. I'm like, I know, and that's like me. And then, yeah, you got to look. But luckily, it sounds like you're a little more grounded.
It's funny doing these interviews because I was a broadcast journalist, so it's like everything in me not to ask you questions and like be like, so tell, I want to hear all about you too, but I have to kind of remind myself, like, don't go in broadcast journalism mode.
I think that's kind of badass, though. You didn't want to do that. You didn't want to. What would have been
I'd
your
love to ask
dream
you
gig as a
questions.
no? What would have been your dream gig as a broadcast journalism, like White
Oh,
House
I wanted my own
correspondent for
travel
NBC? Oh,
I wanted my own travel
okay.
show. I was like going to go the mode of like, get the reporting done, get the exposure, get the experience, like kind of work my way up, pay my dues in the broadcast journalism world, and then break free and go on the Discovery Channel. That was the goal.
That was a very specific goal. It's pretty good.
Maybe I could.
I mean, you could
think
still
there's
do it
always
as a
an element-
musician.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was going to say, yeah, I think there's always an element of like, it's still in there. I could just, as I'm touring, God willing, just maybe highlighting places where I am.
I'm curious. Ask me one question. What would it be?
Okay, let me think about this.
Okay. We're at a disadvantage because I've done a lot of research on you,
Yeah.
and
I
I'm
just
just
followed
some
you on
dude on your
Instagram,
computer.
So.
Oh,
No, but I know you could. So I would say, okay, so would I be allowed to have 2 questions?
yes.
Okay, 1, I need advice all the time.
Okay.
So what would be your nugget of advice for someone who is embarking on music?
Well, what's funny is you kind of answered that question yourself as to why you're doing this and what you want out of it and what are your expectations. And as long as they're realistic, I think you can continue with it. But if they are not realistic, you will lose your mind. So I would definitely say, but you seem to have already answered that. I mean, with you, I would like to see you perform and see what that's like before I gave you any kind of advice. I work with the Austin Music Foundation doing that very thing, like mentoring.
Oh,
young bands.
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm in Austin from time to time. I'd love to meet up when I come down there for the next thing.
Okay. All right. So what was the
okay,
second
so
question?
next question. Okay, so you were the rock and roll genre.
Yes.
If you could do it all over again, but you had to choose a different genre, completely different genre, what would you have done?
That's a great question. Maybe like a crooner guy.
Oh,
I think that would be my next, or a reggae guy.
oh, cool.
I'm not sure. My hair's nowhere near cool enough for reggae, but
I see
think
dread potential.
you do you?
Yeah, yeah.
you.
Just give it like 5 years.
Thank you.
Don't touch it.
Listen, it's a disgusting. I mean, it's standing on its own. It's like living its own dream.
You just have a natural mohawk.
Yeah, faux hawk.
There you go.
Sarah, it's been great meeting you, and I wish you tremendous luck. And I know that releasing your first record in a time when you can't go out and play shows must be terribly and painfully frustrating, because there's nothing more exciting than a release show for a person that plays shows, because like finally you have a show that's not just a show. This is like very special. It has the thing that I've been spending this time making. But yeah, man, I'll check you out. You're on tonight? Yeah, Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Central Time on Instagram. Tuesday Tunes with Sarah Johnson. You can find her at sarahjohnsonofficial.com. Volcano, the EP, drops September 18th, which is probably before this podcast drops. Great. Was that good?
That was awesome.
I say all
that
this stuff.
That was perfect. It was great. Johnny, it's an honor talking to you.
Yeah,
and
pleasure.
Really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you so much.
Yeah, a real pleasure. I'll let you guys know when this drops, and good luck with everything.
I appreciate it. You too.
Take care.
Thanks, Johnny.
See ya.
Closer on the edge and I'm still standing. Feel a spark in my bones like lightning.
That was a really good conversation, man. I really enjoyed talking to Sarah Johnson, man. Getting to know her. She seems very cool. She's got a good EP coming out September 18th. The single Volcano that you're hearing is out before then. It's available whenever you hear this. The EP might be out now. Just go to sarahjohnsonofficial.com. Get involved there. Great conversation, man. Great songwriter, cool person, and very nice to meet her. Hey, gang, while you're out there checking out sarahjohnsonofficial.com, don't forget that you can subscribe to this podcast wherever it is that you find your podcast, wherever you do your podcast business, if it's on Spotify, if it's on Apple Podcast, if it's on Stitcher, if it's on Google Podcast, anywhere, we are there. 3 shows a week we're dropping, 2 new shows, and then a From the Vault series where we reach back in our vault of hundreds and hundreds of shows and re-release a new one once a week. All right, gang, thank you so much for listening to the show. Let's hear the rest of this song, Volcano, by the immensely talented Sarah Johnson from Dallas, Texas. Find her at sarahjohnsonofficial.com. Have a great day. Let's get down.